the power. Experience the excitement. You're in the driver's seat. At Skip Barber, you learn from the best. Whether you are a new driver that wants to learn accident avoidance or a seasoned racer looking to improve, we have a program for you. We're your #1 destination for auto racing and driving schools. Skip Barber. Feel the power.
Well, you've seen the promo. Now here's the real thing. Welcome once again, everyone, to our Memorial Day Classic from Lime Rock Park in Connecticut. It's an absolutely glorious day here as we turn our attention to the second feature race of Skip Barber. A brilliant weekend and a big weekend for Skip Barber. And as the ad said, this is where you learn your chops when it comes to motor racing. And young and old, I may add, we have a Masters and a Youngsters championship going on at the moment here. And as you can see, a full field of Formula 4 cars, Miguel chassis and Ford engines. State-of-the-art cars, I may add. And alongside me, Jonathan Green, once again, Scott Conway. And we had a really enjoyable first race. I hope we get the same in our feature race too, don't you?
Oh, I certainly do. I think it's going to be a great race. The top four should be the top four coming up in this feature race number 2. Dean Lambrose taking the win. Joshua Alionel, who finished second in the championship last year by 2 points, finished second this morning. Third place was Elvis Rankin, our youngest driver in the field at 14 years old. And fourth, the defending series champion, two-time champion, Jonathan Gandy. And the Masters class, we had Jimmy Dye that won. We had we're here. Bob Perlmutter finishing second. He's our oldest driver in the class, 64 years old. And then Rocco Orlando rounding out the top 3. So looking for a great race. We had a lot of passes. We had a lot of tight, close competition. Again, this series basically for driver development and for moving up through the ranks. And we have a lot of young drivers that are getting ready to go there, Jonathan.
Yeah, and there was something I wanted to bring up again, which I think is worth emphasizing. Obviously, this is the, if you like, out of karting, the first step into wings and slick tire racing. But that said, you can get an earlier start than this, and Mikhail Gade and Elvis Rankin, who was pole position for this race weekend, both got their way into this series by Formula I racing. So doing sim racing, it's now a popular thing, and as most of you youngsters who are tuning in right now might say, well, could I do this for real? And the answer is yes.
Yeah, most of these drivers, there are some that started as young as age 4 in go-karts. We have one driver that started in quarter midgets and then moved up to the Bandolero cars, and that's our youngest driver. And then he actually has joined the Apex Pro Racing team. He's going to be actually a professional racing driver. So, yes, you can definitely do this. Actually, the Nissan GT Academy is based on basically simulators as well as other training, but that's the main focus. Then they take you right out of there and go into the Nissan GT cars. That's how Jonathan Gandy wound up here.
Well, as you can see, they're forming up behind the pace car right now, and he's asking them to file into 2x2, and that's the idea. They slow it all down now, coming down the hill and onto the main Sam Posey straight, and then they will get that rolling start. We've got a black flag out now at the moment, so that means we're not going racing just yet. The pace car is coming off, and they're all coming into the pit lane. So there must be a problem on track. I'm not sure what it is yet. As soon as I find out, I'll let you know. But, Scott, that's not a delay. And for these youngsters, that can also be a little bit unnerving, right?
Yes, it definitely can. You know, a lot of these drivers, some of them drivers, actually, this is their first foray into Formula Racing. Boris said Jr. would be the main example of that. First time he sat in a car of this type was Friday, but he has adapted very well to it. He finished 7th this morning. And Boris said Jr. Coming to grips very well with it. But, yes, it can be very unnerving. Race early this morning, they've sat all day long waiting for their chance to get back out on track. You know, they're thinking in their heads, what do I need to do? They're talking to their driver coaches, which a very big and integral part of Skip Barber Racing is the coaching aspect of it. You know, they've gone over the data. They know what they're going to do. They're already amped up to go, and all of a sudden they have to have one more lap.
Well, and they're now taking that one lap. So as you can see, when a black flag comes out there, they take them through the pit lane in single file. Now they'll try and file them up again and get them ready. And again, as you can see, warming up through left-hander. And this small 1.5 plus circuit here at Lime Rock, I say, is the perfect place for them to learn their craft. Not an easy track by any means, but a short track.
And Skip Barber, who has been the host here this weekend here at Lime Rock at his track, has pointed out very rightfully so, this is a short track, and some people have the perception that it's a slow track. Nothing could be further than the truth. This is one of the faster tracks that actually we race on because there's really no braking points. Now, they use the uphill S's, but in the track the configuration that we have been using, it's one of the fastest tracks that we go to.
So here we go. You can see they're forming up once again, 2 by 2.
Hopefully
Elvis Rankin in the number 5 on the left-hand side of your shot. Then Dean Lambros on the right-hand side in the number 8. And, of course, he won the first race with a great race this morning. Here we go then. We're getting ready for our start here. A little bit of a false start at first, but we're getting ready to go. And we'll soon be on our way. And now they're formed up and ready to go. Now, can Dean Lambros do it again? Now we're starting away. The green flag waves. We are racing at Lime Rock. Skip Barber in full flow.
And Dean Lambros and the youngster, Elvin Rankin, right on the inside. But it looks like it'll be Lambros sweeping around the outside of the turn and taking the lead going into Big Bend there, Jonathan.
Just as he did in the first race, and a good clean start as they come through Big Bend and into the left-hander. And now they'll start to spread out, and you've got to be careful. They've done a couple of warm-up laps, but are the tyres up to temperature just yet? And are they ready to go? Have they got their concentration yet? Well, certainly Lambros has. He's away and running is Dean Lambros. Good start also from the number 18, Will Lambros. So we could have a Lambros fest on the podium if we're lucky.
Yeah, Dean is the younger brother. William's the older brother. 17 for Lambros, 19 for William. William started go-karting at age 6, and he wound his way into Formula cars. But this is the type of racing that we saw all race long in the first race. Nose-to-tail racing. These are identically prepared cars. They're Miguel chassis, 1.6-liter, 4-cylinder EcoBoost engines, and they are made to be identical, made to have the driver be the key ingredient in this formula.
Mikkel Gade is the number 16 that you're looking at right now, trying to defend from Bobby Krug in 5th position. Boris Said Jr. in the number 3. He's up to 6th place after that first lap, so a much better start by the chip off the old block, Boris Said Jr. And I say that because, of course, Boris Said, a very famous name in American racing. Boris Said Senior, although he's called Junior, is a well-known figure both in Trans Am, sports car racing, Trans Am, you name it, NASCAR even, and of course sports car racing. So we hope the same for his younger son, and there he is, Boris Said Jr. Trying out, he started off with Miatas, but this is his first, am I right in saying, his first ever single-seater race weekend?
Actually, he started in go-karts and moved to Spec Miatas, had been racing those for a couple of years, but Friday was the first time that he'd ever sat in one of these cars.
Wow.
And then straight away he went out 13th in the first practice session, but by the first qualifying session he was in the top 5. And if you notice there, Jonathan, we have 2 distinct 3-car groups, the top 3, and then in that second 3, which is not that far behind the first group, is Boris Said Jr. right at the tail end of that in 6th overall.
We're looking at the 16 of Gade in 4th position now, trying to defend from the number 12 Krug. And at the moment, Bobby Krug doing a good job. They all dropped under the 1-minute mark on that second lap. 2 laps gone then. We're on lap 3 and a good start. No question about it, just as he did in the first race this morning. Dean Lambros. Remember these youngsters' names because they are names. They're going to be coming up through the ranks and maybe one day racing in Formula One or IndyCar perhaps.
Now, Krug and Gade, both of those had rather disappointing races this morning. But again, part of this development series is sitting down with your coaches, finding out where you went fast, finding out, more importantly, where you have some speed to pick up. And they obviously were very good students because they were 9th and 10th this morning. They're running in the top 5 this afternoon.
So a really good battle of races here, and you can see them weaving from side to side. And the reason for that is the 16 trying, as he looks in his mirrors, to just try to see if he can pull away from the man chasing him, the number 12. That's Bobby Krug, and maybe stop him from getting in the slipstream. But Krug's got other ideas as he goes through turn 1 and into turn 2 and 3. He's going to stick right underneath the tailpipe if he can and get as much suction air, if you will, or at least a little bit of a slipstream. You don't get much, but you get enough to stay there and go a little bit faster than the car in front of you.
Yeah, the main thing here is don't scrub off any speed through the turns. When you get up towards the climbing S's and out onto the no-name straight on the back part of the course, you want to be right there in the draft. And although you may not want to make your move right now, at least you are going to be there and can make that move if you want to. The drafting is a key integral part of this as well. Much like the Spec Miatas where Skip Barber started out with, these Formula cars the same, identically prepared. The driver has to gauge when he can pull out and hopefully not let that car that he just passed repass him.
This is the battle for the lead going into Big Ben, and no question about it, Rankin looking as though he's about to make a pounce on Lambros, who's done a really good job at the start of this race. But as you can see from the overhead shot on the drone, these two pulling away now through turn 2, and Rankin looking as though he's about to make a move down the no name straight.
And two names we have not mentioned, Jonathan, are two of the top contenders for the championship. Johnny Giundi, who won the championship last year, and Joshua Alionel, who finished second by 2 points. And this has opened the door. Dean Lambros obviously was winning the morning race and leading right now, but that has promoted Rankin right up on the rear wing, and he is all over the front-running Dean Lambros.
Yeah, Elvis Rankin got pole position in wet weather yesterday, and yeah, he was really the star of the show. I saw him the report on Facebook with a big smile on his face, but now he's having work to do to try to stay with the number 8, who looks in the mirrors from side to side. What he tries to do here at turn 1 is push his opponent as wide as possible, because if you leave the door open on the inside, then it's harder to get back that position. So just leave them, hang them out to dry, if you will, all around this long Big Ben.
But it was interesting there. Obviously, Lambros was taking the classic line through there, the protective line where you could get a good apex. It was interesting to see that Rankin kind of took a little bit wider line, see if I get a little bit more exit speed perhaps and be in position for that draft. Rankin is not that experienced in these cars. Lambros a little bit more so, but Rankin at 14 years old, coming straight from go-karts. Lambros has had, I believe, a year in the Formula Race Series. So a little bit of experience against a little bit of youth, and I'm sure Rankin is trying to go to school on him, see where is his weaknesses, where might I have a little bit of advantage where I can get by him.
Well, and as they push on each other, they're pulling away from the second Lambros. That's the elder one, Will. There he is on the number 18, just down in 3rd place. He's pulled away from Bobby Krug. Gade now still 5th place, and Boris Said Jr. in 6th. Then Johnny Guindy, the man you were talking about, he's down in 7th, and Alinal is in 9th position. He's just gone up to 8th on the last lap there. So they're starting to make their way through, Guindy and Alinal from 7th and 8th now. So let's see if they can make it all the way up to the sharp end of this race.
Yeah, but they're going to have to really pedal hard there to catch up to the lead 2. Looks like Rankin's maybe making his move here.
Down no name straight, but he's just defended well, but Rankin gets through, nips by. Nicely done. I thought Lambros had it for a second, but that's good driving by the youngster.
Yeah, Rankin judged that very well. I thought he was not going to be able to get there, but he did right at the very last moment. Oh, side by close there.
I'll tell you what, the more senior watchers on would say you can't do that. Well, these youngsters don't know the rules. They just do their own thing, and that was great racing down the hill here at Lime Rock.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know, right?
Right. They don't teach that at Skip Barber, but they'll allow it.
But this is the type of racing that it really promotes driver development. You know, you're learning racecraft. You're learning to be smooth in the car. Again, these cars are 160 horsepower, but still they're identical. So it's not like you just stomp on the gas and pass somebody, you know, at will. No, you have to really set them up. You have to think about that. You have to do some racecraft. Have to judge where you have a little bit of strength and they have just that little bit of weakness that you can either get beside them to force them wide or to actually pass them in a draft.
Good segue using the word will, because Will Lambros has caught right up now to his brother. So the Lambros attack is in full flow, but Elvis Rankin is now pulling away at the front. Now he's got the lead. Really good stuff. Now can the Lambros duo start to mount an attack on him from 2nd and 3rd? But this is a good sibling rivalry now for 2nd and 3rd, and it should be fun. Senior behind junior.
Yes, and Will started at age 6 in go-karts, and Dean started at age 4. So Dean had a little bit of experience there on him in the go-karts, but there are nose to tail. But you're right, Rankin, right, when he was able to get by, he said goodbye to both the Lambros brothers. They are nose to tail. Yeah,
we've got a cracking race between the two brothers in 2nd and 3rd. Krug now up to 4th. Gade and Junior, that's Boris Said Jr. in 6th. Alanal is behind Boris Said Jr., so Boris Said is really getting a schooling, if you will, because he's around two very accomplished drivers. You can see the group of drivers there just behind, but this at the front is very close indeed. There's a slight lock-up by the number 8 Lambros, and that, of course, is Dean Lambros locking up there, his brother putting down the herd in the number 18.
Now, the driver coach that was talking to Elvis Rankin has to have a huge smile on his face, because Rankin has really gone out to the distance after he was able to get by Dean Lambros there. Rankin finishing third in the first race, and he looks like he's on his way to maybe his first victory in this Formula Race Series.
Yeah, well, let's not call it too soon.
I'm not calling it. I'm just saying he's on his way.
Yeah, I know. It's really good, though. And I tell you what, let's remind everybody, these are all identical powered 1.6 cylinder engines, and nothing between them, so you can't get an advantage without driving it better than the other guy. Look at this, great.
Yeah, that's what, 4 cars right in a row, almost 5, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it goes all the way back to Guindy in, 8th position there in the number 6. So this battle of a 5-way battle now coming through left-hander and onto No Name Straight, really, really hotting up nicely.
And I believe just behind them is the Masters class race between Orlando, Dye, and Perlmutter.
Yeah, Gade leading this group, and it's changing and swapping as through goes Guindy. Guindy getting up 1 place there. I think he may have passed. No, Boris Said is right at the front. He's second in this group.
But Boris Said actually has moved up a position. Yep. Good drive by Boris Said Jr. Like I said, sometimes drivers just get in certain cars. They just feel comfortable. They feel good in it. And that just permeates right into their driving. This apparently is suiting his driving style very well. Again, we were very impressed with Boris Said Jr. stepping right into that car on Friday, methodically working his way up. And at the end of the session, he was third. Very impressive. And he's holding his the champion there from last year, 2-time champion, and the guy that finished second. And they both have extreme experience in these cars.
Yep, and Gade, as you saw on the main straight there, looking in his mirrors and checking out where Boris Said was as they went down the straight together. And a 5-way battle continuing here. And we're keeping an eye on the leaders. No change there. It's still ranking Lambros and Lambros. 8 follows 18. Dean ahead of...
Whoa, side by side.
Close. Ooh, that was a little bit too close for comfort, but he took it anyway. Nice move by Guindy, the experienced Guindy. Like you say, last year's champion, not afraid. We got damage, I think, to a wing of the number 11. Alan looks as though he's got slight damage to the front wing. Look, left side.
Yeah, I believe he does. Now, there is no way you ask anybody of any type of class here that you should have been able to make that pass going in the uphill S's. That was an amazing pass. Guindy just kind of stuck it in there and said, I'm coming through.
Taus in this wild battle now with Guindy at 6 versus 7. And on the inside, that's good racing. And he's going to get side by side, but he's going to have a better line is Guindy. And he does go through and stay and hold that position. Rankin now leading. This is amazing. He's got a 4-second lead in these all identical cars already. And there's still some, 14 minutes to go in this race. And Rankin, the youngster, Elvis Rankin, is driving well.
Yeah, the only thing adjustable on these cars, as we were talking this morning, Jonathan, is the anti-sway bar, the front and rear wings, and there's not really that much adjustment or play in those wings. So this is all driving by Rankin, and again, extremely impressive. And folks, again, as Jonathan said, pay attention to these names. These are going to be the drivers that come up through the ranks. Numerous drivers that were in the Indianapolis 500 yesterday that came up through the Skip Barber Formula Race Series.
Yep, absolutely. Names like Alex Rossi, names that you'll know well, like Joseph Newgarden.
Juan Pablo Montoya.
There you go. And these guys all started right here. So if you want to be one of those men, if you want to be drinking the milk, well, this is where to start.
And just go to skipbarberraceseries.com or formularaceseries.com on Skip Barber, and they'll tell you all about it. It's about $18,000 for the weekend. And you say, well, that's a lot. No, it's really not. You get a completely inclusive package: arrive and drive car, entry fees, hospitality, marketing, driver coaching. It's a fantastic package for the value.
And win the 500, you get it all back.
Yeah, that's right.
At least that's the theory.
That's the theory, yes, indeed.
Motor racing is not cheap. 12 minutes to go there, and plenty of great racing throughout this field. But Rankin is giving a lesson here, Elvis Rankin, right now. He's pulled away dramatically in the last few laps. The gap now 4 seconds. As we go back to the Lambros brothers in their fight as it continues, but they're now joined by both Krug and Gade. Junior losing out. He's dropped to 7th now, so showing a little bit maybe of the learning curve, because the others have got ahead of him, and he's dropped from, 6th down to 7th now. Guindy still in 8th position. And as you say, that battle for the Masters, Dye, Orlando, and Perlmutter, just as ferocious, the battle there at the back.
Yeah, that was a good, tight 3-car battle this morning for Masters, and it is right at the moment. Again, these drivers have, on the other end of the spectrum, they've had probably their careers. They're just getting out here having a lot of fun and doing the driver development as well, but just having fun out there and doing close competition.
Krug just going through in the number 12, making a nice move there as they came through 6. He got good drive through the S's as we go back to the battle between, and in fact, actually, Dean Lambrose has pulled a bit of a gap now as his brother has dropped a spot, and that's allowed Krug, the number 12, to go through up to 3rd.
Again, a good drive by Krug. He was, I believe he was 8th this morning, and he was kind of off the pace. When I say off the pace, that's only about a second. Again, these identical cars, but he was an 8th this morning, but he has been doing very well. He was up in the top pack and drifted back just a little bit, but still in the top 5. Very good drive for him.
Yep, and here's your Masters leader with 10 minutes to go, coming across the line in the number 9. That's Dye.
Dye going for his 2nd win in the Masters. Dye, 38 years old, and number first this morning and trying to be first this afternoon.
Yeah, Jimmy Dye, and across the line now comes the number 2. That's Orlando. He was 2nd this morning, I think. No, sorry, he was 3rd. Rocco Orlando was 3rd this morning.
And Perlmutter, who was 2nd this morning, is 3rd this afternoon.
Another change of spot as Joshua Alanel goes up to 4th place ahead of Miguel Gade, who drops to 5th, said now 6th. And Johnny Gundy is still 7th at the moment.
Alanel, who had a good drive this morning, Alanel finishing 2nd in this morning's race. Alanel, who we were in the very first part of this race, we were not talking about him that much. We said he was way in the back, but he is steadily marching forward. Question is, does he have enough time, at least the podium, if not catch Rankin?
Yep, and here is your leader, Elvis Rankin, the number 5, doing a really superb job. He's taken it now just over 5 seconds, this lead. And now it's all about concentration. 9 minutes to go, and I'm sure this is where you've got to keep your head, because as you can see, he's got traffic to deal with ahead of him. That's Orlando that he's going to try to see if he can navigate past. But this track, kind of perfect for these smaller Slicks and Wings cars, because the simple reason that Lime Rock's very narrow for the big Trans Am cars and the big sports cars that are out there, but for these guys, they can get 3 wide.
Now look at this, good tight nose to tail action.
Well, Krug's replaced Will as, well, Will, I don't know, Lambrose has disappeared. I think he's actually stopped because Will Lambrose has dropped down to 13th, so he's either circulating very slowly or he's come into the pits.
So it's Dean Lambrose with now Bobby Krug right behind him. Krug trying to size Dean Lambrose up. Krug would love to get up into 2nd overall, but he's...
Here comes the leader on the first of the Masters, or the 2nd place Masters, I should say. And here's this battle for 2nd place. And if his brother didn't put pressure on him, Bobby Krug is about to as they come down the hill and into turn 7 here at Lime Rock Park. Beautiful day here. Skip Barber racing as it should be, in full fettle. Youngsters and seniors, or Masters as we call them.
And Krug, this is his 2nd year in the Formula Race Series.
Somebody went wide there in this group of 4, but they've all recovered. It could have been Boris said, or it could have been this battle between the 6 and the 7, because going through, Gundy just making a spot. He loses again out to Taus. And he just touched there, and he was almost off, but he held it together. Good driving by both of them.
Wow, that was very close. It looked like he was going to go around, but somehow he saved it there.
Now, Lambrose and Cruz continue their battle. Up the hill they come then, over the crest and down towards turn 6. The obvious place to overtake here is at turn 1, but as we've seen already, there are some other interesting places to overtake if you're willing to take the risk. The drive out of here, Scott, is the key.
It certainly is. It looked like that as they were going through, Lambrose maybe got a little bit better exit out of the uphill S's, which will pay dividends eventually down here at the end of the front straightaway. He should be able to hold on to that 2nd position. I don't think Cruz is going to be close enough to draft by him.
So here we go. Time ticking away, but some great racing. They've certainly dialed themselves in since this morning. Like you say, they've had all day to look at the data, to talk to their coaches and to think about this race. And I think that's a lot about racing. So much of it is in the head, and I don't mean to be flippant when I say that, but it's what you do in the race that you've prepared to do and then absolutely execute as you plan to do. You can't plan everything. It's not one of those situations. You'd love to think it was that easy, but it's not. There's all sorts of things that come into play, but if you could put your plan out there, the one that you want to race with, hopefully it'll work for you and you won't be distracted away from that too much. Having said that, Krug is trying to ruin the number 8 Lambrose's plan big time, but Dean is wary to it.
Yeah, I think the most impressive drives at the moment are Elvis Rankin leading by the margin that he is, and Bobby Krug. Because again, Rankin finished third, but he was a little bit off the pace. He was right on the front row when they started, kind of studied where Dean Lambros was, and was able to get by him, and then just checked out. And Krug all over the back wing, as he has been for many laps now, of Dean Lambros, the morning winner.
Alan goes through there on Orlando, the Masters second place man, makes that look easy on the inside of turn 1, and now he's off and running. And just 5 minutes just over to go. Still, this battle continues. Dean Lambros under massive pressure here, and I always think that that's a harder skill, Scott, is to learn not to drive in your mirrors, but to drive fast and defensively at the same time. Not an easy skill.
Yeah, they call it situational awareness, I believe.
Yep.
To know that you don't necessarily have to look in your mirrors. You kind of glance at them every now and then. You know where that car is. You know the track. You know pretty much where they're going to try to make the pass. You just try to cover that as best you can. But yeah, that's an interesting point. Pressure is something you have to withstand in any form of racing, whether it's go-karts or Formula Race Series, Trans Am, what have you. And it's really tough to withstand lap after lap after lap of a car just sitting there, especially if you're on identical cars like these, that you know all you have to do is make one little slip-up and he can be right beside you or by you.
So this is interesting. We've got pockets of racing all the way through. In the Masters, we've got a four-way battle at the back there. But meanwhile, Rankin is now pulling away again, 6.5 seconds. But the real battle is here between Lambros and Krug for the podium for second place and third.
I'm sure Lambros probably didn't see this coming.
No. Well, 1 minute he had his brother right behind him. Then he disappeared. And he's down in 13, 6 laps adrift. So I think he's actually pulled out of this race. But now Bobby Krug definitely going to make a move. This is where he needs to line himself up. He needs to tuck himself under the wing of Lambros, and he's done just that, but he's made the mistake while keeping his eye on the rear wing of his opponent. He's gone too wide, a little bit of concentration there on his part. He was driving really nicely out of that corner, but he got too hot, and I think the drive, he almost got sucked into going too wide there.
Yeah, he looked like he was getting ready to make his pass. Maybe he was thinking a little bit too hard about that and maybe lost just a slight bit of concentration, slid just a little bit wide, and he's lost touch now.
Here it is
Still
again.
third,
Yeah,
though.
you see he's just too hot.
Yeah.
And he did well to save that, to be fair. Once you get on the grass here, it's been very wet over the weekend. He was very lucky to save that.
Yes, he was. He's still in third place. But again, I just cannot emphasize the great drive that he's doing here. 6.5 seconds is just unheard of in this series. Again, it's usually very, very close. And last couple laps now in the morning race, the positions change. But I think Rankin, unless he makes a mistake and he hasn't put a wheel wrong yet, this should be his race.
Well, this is some excellent performance by the young Elvis Rankin. Take pole. We should be expecting this, though. He's a lean and tall figure of a young man, and squeezes himself into these tiny cars, and he's done a really good job as Alan now right on the back of Krug as well. It's going to be a three-way battle now for the podium with just over 3 minutes to go.
Now, Alionel is the most experienced of these three that are up there at the front between Lambros and Alionel. So Alionel should be able to hopefully size them up and get by them. Krug is right. He was right behind at the moment. All three of those now nose to tail going through the uphill S's. This is where the draft is going to come into play, Jonathan. You can't get a draft here. Do you make your move now, or do you let you go down the downhill S's, downhill straight there?
Ooh, what a little touch of the wheel there. That's going to slow down Lambros, because it was he who hit the grass there. Surely he's lost drive, and both of them are going to try and make a move on him now as they come down the straight. He switches from side to side to try and get them out the draft. He looks in the mirrors, but here comes the 12. Here comes Krug, and 11's trying to go with him.
Krug side by side with him. I think he's going to maybe run out of room. Let's see.
He's got to keep his foot in. Keep your foot in. I saw Andretti do that a couple of years ago. If you keep your foot in and keep the grip, there is grip there to go into the inside left-hander, and he's done it.
Oh.
Lovely move. And Alan wasn't able to pull it off at the same time, but Bobby Krug makes it with a plume. That was really, really good racing.
I was surprised that Alionel went with Krug. I thought he would go to the inside.
Well, he's gone down no name straight, and he's now made that move. And so the battle is on now, and poor old Lambros has gone from second to fourth in a matter of corners.
And that experience coming into play, Joshua Alionel, who we had not talked about in the first part of the race, all of a sudden he is in the top three. He's on the last step of the podium, and I'm sure he's trying to size up Krug, who he has more experience than. Again, Alionel finishing second last year just by 2 points. This is his third year in the series.
Coming down to the nitty-gritty now, Elvis Rankin is 7 seconds up the road on Krug, who just got into second place, and now Krug is there in second. He really is putting on a sprint.
And now the question is, can Dean Lambros do anything about getting back into second? I'm sure he's probably inside his helmet saying, man, I just made that tiny bit of mistake, but that's all it takes.
It is all it takes, because you lose so much drive when you hit that dirt. And it is a momentum sport, and it only takes that much. We saw it happen on the last corner a moment ago as well. He got lucky, to be fair. Here's your leader. And he ain't nothing but a hand dog, as the other Elvis would say. Good stuff. Elvis Rankin on his way to victory here. And he should be just one lap away now. Will we see the white flag? No, we're going to get the checker. And it's going to be Elvis Rankin with the win. Excellent stuff. He wins the feature race here in the Skip Barber Lime Rock Classic. And you can see as he pumps his fists in the air, Schumacher style. He is pleased with that, and he should be. 8 seconds in the end over Krug. And that, you don't get that kind of margin in this kind of racing.
No, that's absolutely fantastic for him. A great drive by Rankin. Again, he was very patient behind Lambros, picked his spot out. When he was able to get by him, he just put his head down and consistently clicked off laps. His driver coach must be absolutely ecstatic with the drive that Rankin just had. 14 years old, youngest driver in the field, his first win in the Skip Barber Formula Race Series. Folks, they'll be headed to VIR next in the middle part of June. You'll want to go see these future stars of Formula Racing. Elvis Rankin, a name to remember, Jonathan.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Elvis Rankin, just a teenager at the moment, but on his way. And I've seen a fair few junior races in my time, and that was excellent stuff. He really did show some really, really good patience, good racecraft, and when he got the lead, he absolutely dominated from there on in. Put lap in after lap in and made it impossible, really, for anybody else to catch him.
But very entertaining for a second between Dean Lambros and Bobby Krug and Joshua Alionel.
Absolutely. Sadly, though, Lambros, Dean, that is, dropped down to 4. But in the end, it was Elvis Rankin with the win in the number 5, Bobby Krug second, Joshua Alionel in 3rd position, the most experienced out there. Dean Lambros, a good weekend, though, in 4th position. Boris Said Jr. in his first Slicks and Wings race in 5th place. Johnny Gundy beating the champion. That's a good result. That'll be happy with that for Boris Said Jr. Michael Gade, 7th. Nicky Glazier in 8th. Jimmy Dye in 9th position. And 10th position goes to Rocco Orlando.
And Jimmy Dye, the Masters class winner for the second race in a row.
So my thanks once again to Scott Conway. He'll be ever present at the tracks around the United States, and we've got plenty of SVRA and Trans Am action coming your way as the season continues. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with more later. And as they come into the pit lane, I again want to thank all the commentators involved, Adam Andretti and also to Cameron Parsons. I'm Jonathan Green on behalf of everybody here. I hope you've enjoyed our live feed. That's the lot for today. And join us next time out at Mid-Ohio. Until then, bye-bye for now.
When the road calls, we answer. Hit the road with insurance that protects your classic for what it's actually worth and save an average of $264. Get a quote today at Hagerty.com. When hours invested become miles enjoyed. Whether you're customizing or building a car from the ground up, Hagerty protects your vehicle with guaranteed value coverage. Get a quote today at Hagerty.com.
Yes. Hon, the WeatherTech's here.
WeatherTech is the ultimate protection for your vehicle. Laser measured floor liners, no drill mud flaps, cargo liner, bump step, seat protector, and cup phone.
What about my car?
WeatherTech.